intros.
Yeah, so let me introduce myself for those who may not know. My name's John. I'm got a channel called Gamester81, and I've been on YouTube for, since 2008.
2008.
2008. It's been fun, man. So, yeah, who are you?
Who am I? I'm Jeff, and I'm on your channel with you.
You are. We have a good time on our channel, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, you started in 2008. You also were part of the All Gen Gamers podcast.
That's right. We did the All Gen Gamers. I think we started out around 2011-ish.
Yeah. And then outside of me doing my books and doing my game publishing, I'm on your channel where we do some game talk as well as our...
Yeah, I enjoy those videos.
Retro random...
Challenge kind of stuff. Yeah, that was good. That was fun. We kind of pick a random game, we play it, and share our opinions on it and stuff like that. So I'm trying to think when was the first time we met. In person.
Was it here at Midwest Gaming Classic?
2014?
2014.
Yeah,
maybe.
This is my second time here, so shout out to the organizers, Dan, everyone. This is a great show.
Oh yeah, amazing show. And then we're here with the captive eating audience over here on the bonus stage with Hair of the Dogcast.
That pizza looks really good, Caleb.
Yeah, that pizza looks amazing.
Amazing. No, I'm good right now. But
you have to hand feed him while he talks.
You will. Hand feed.
You got to get a meme from that.
Yeah, we're in a kid's pockets by the food. It smells really good and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about the origin of Gamester81.
Okay. What would you like to know? Like how I started?
Yeah, how you started, how you got your feet wet, and then how you became the legend, the myth, the man,
I've
the
been
legend.
collecting for years, and my kind of niche of collecting is I like consoles, like obscure consoles, right? And when I got married in 2009, one of the wedding gifts I got, it was 2008, was a video camera my parents gave me. And I'd watched James, Video Game Nerd, and there really wasn't many videos going over these consoles I own online on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And so I just decided, if you watch some of early stuff, I had no editing skills, nothing like that. And I was just my very first dozen episodes or videos, I did it when my wife or my fiance at the time was asleep, right? So you can hear me whispering on the camera. I'm like, why are you so quiet in the videos? Because I didn't want to wake people up, because we had a small place. So, but that's how I got started with the videos. And just gotten to meet some really cool people, including yourself. And I got into, in 2012, I started got into CollectorVision games with that company, in which we make a lot of homebrew games, and for ColecoVision and Super Nintendo, NES, and even modern Switch and modern consoles today. So that's been fun. And then 2015, I started Game On Expo, which is kind of an event like this in Phoenix. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have the CollectorVision Phoenix, which is an FPGA ColecoVision that you guys have helped push out.
Yep.
That one has had its swan song, so all the copies from CollectorVision are created.
Yeah.
As well as your IP of Sydney Hunter.
Yeah, Sydney Hunter's like our Mario, right? Like he's our mascot.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, Sydney Hunter's like your mascot of CollectorVision. And basically it's on every console, modern and retro.
Pretty much, ranging from the Intellivision upwards to the Switch.
Exactly.
Yeah, we even have a Sega Master System version, which crashed our website when we put it on sale.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even able to get a copy, even knowing John. I couldn't get a copy of the Master System version.
I barely got a copy myself. It was crazy. Because there's no molds for Sega Master System, so every time we make a game, we have to use an old.
Yeah.
Which is brutal. I have to tear off the label and.
So pulling things back a little bit, you were mentioning that you used to cover a lot of the obscure consoles and things.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I knew you as a YouTuber was you were covering all the weird and obscure consoles out there. You were the console guy. You had all the different things that came out. Yeah. So how did that evolve as YouTube changed, and you covered all the consoles that were out there that you found?
Yeah, I've covered all the ones I own about 200 something, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of variants and things like that. But it just evolved. I still do the console reviews and things like that, but I'm more involved. Homebrew scene, I love that. I love what you're doing with premium edition games. It's really cool. So I love the evolution of gaming, how it's coming forward. So that's kind of what I cover.
Because the thing that we got to think about is as we evolve what we do, because we're only able to record every month or so,
right.
Is that let's focus on your old bread and butter and let's talk about some obscure console stuff. That way we bring it back.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's the idea right there. Yeah. That way we, bring classic Gamester81 back over there, and then on top of that, like we can kind of do our cross banter that we like to do and just enjoy things.
And for sure.
Yeah, and then we talk about new stuff on the old things, and there was a lot of cool indie developers here and different ideas that I saw, and lots of opportunities here.
That is true. Love that idea.
Been really cool though.
Yeah.
So another thing that we heard was a bunch of requests here for you to bring back the All Gen Gamers podcast.
Yes, that was. I think we did it for 6-7 years, and it started with Pete, Jason, Heine, myself, and then brought in Jason Metal Jesus Rocks for a while. I think the last episode we recorded was like 2007, late 2017.
For a while earlier, didn't you have Johnny Millennium on?
Oh, we had Johnny Millennium, of course. Happy Punch Gamer.
Yeah,
of course.
Johnny was on there too.
He was on there too. Yeah,
exactly.
So it was just we were like one of the first like gaming podcasts, I think.
You were,
like, in the community.
It was a really cool cross banter that you had, and I don't know how you made it happen with so many people, because like so many people were on there, yet it was still engaging and everybody had their piece.
We had some really cool guests too. Yeah, every episode we had a guest and stuff. It was cool. AllGenGamers.com, all the episodes are still up there. We haven't taken it down, so it's fun. I do miss it.
Because it was a scheduling thing, right? Like everybody.
It still is a scheduling thing.
Yeah.
Like Pete's crazy busy and Jason's busy and I'm busy and just trying to get our. Pete's out east and we're out west. So it's
well, you think about it now, because that was all the OGs of the YouTube community.
Yeah.
Like maybe you reinvigorate it with a couple of the original members and add some newer content creators on there to give a fresh take on some modern things.
I would love that.
So that's where you think about it from a revival perspective, because like people know the name, and if All Gen's coming back,
that'd be cool.
I'd
be all for that.
So, so what's the coolest thing that you've seen here at the Midwest Gaming Classic, John?
Besides premium edition games?
Besides for premium edition games.
Oh man, there's been a lot of cool stuff. I like the homebrew stuff, so I've seen a lot of really cool homebrew. Like the Vectric stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
I like the Shadowbox stuff is awesome. The artwork is really cool. I love that.
I picked up a Splatterhouse one that just looks so amazing with all the different logos.
But there's no lack of games, obviously. A lot of good games you can pick up. And I love how the vendors have it displayed, and obviously the ones that have it like wrapped is really cool, and it's great. A lot of imports over there too, as well.
So what I did right there was tossed you a nice little lob, and we talked about games. So let's talk about the what we're going to talk about for this little chat, which is the retro game collecting scene right now, and how the table has risen due to the introduction of investors into the sealed community. I mean, we have, WADA here, that's here back on the floor, taking submissions online only. But like that has taken off to such an extent that now sealed games have increased exponentially. Then the CIBs now have become more obscure, and those have risen, even down to cartridges and, like different manuals and things, all the prices.
I mean, you look at the coin industry, you look at the comic industry, you look at the baseball card and Pokemon card industry. I mean, it had to come to a gaming event at some point. That's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
So it's a segment of the gaming that's made it a little more challenging to find good prices on games. Unfortunately, Mario sells sealed for a lot of money, and then people all of a sudden see a Mario game and think it's going to sell for a crazy amount of money. And
interestingly, there was videos out there with conspiracy theories and things like that, but in reality, it's almost an inevitability, right? Where how it rose to that level, it was gonna happen. It just happened very fast, which in my assessment was also a combination of going through the pandemic where people were at home collecting more, had expendable cash.
It was a perfect storm of circumstances, right? I mean, I remember like 3 years ago, we were talking about, the bubble's going to burst, right? For the prices.
They've been talking about that for 20 years.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while. But then COVID hit, and then everyone stayed home. Like you said, everyone didn't have anything to do but play games, and they got the government's money and, all that good stuff, right? And so all that kind of added up, and people got more nostalgic, and people growing up on the classic consoles have the money now to buy games, and it's all about the nostalgia and the hunt and all that good stuff.
And everybody was in the right place at the right time. So the grading communities were in the right place at the right time in order to encompass those investors that they likely reached out to. Well, I would have too, because that's their business. So that right there was an inevitability of, where people needed to diversify their funds into different solid investments. That's a big wig, situation of retro game collecting, whereas we just want to come here to a convention and get a very decent copy of Little Samson. Like, that's what I want to do. But, like, in reality, now the whole table, as we mentioned, has risen, But the question will be, there won't be a bubble bursting because that just means all values tank out, and all of a sudden we're going to be not being able to give away the games. That's never going to happen.
Right.
All the top tier games will always maintain a semblance of value. They may not be at the very tip top, but they will maintain a semblance of that value.
Yeah.
But the question is, where and when does this level out? Because that's the terminology. It's going to level out eventually with retro game collecting.
That's a good question. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
It's hard to know.
Because, I mean, you watch the different eBay auctions, you'll watch the different heritage auctions and things like that, and your $1 million heritage auctions will now be hundreds of thousands, and that may teeter off, and that's basically due to the amount of copies of games that'll be in the market. Because if it's the one of one, it's going to go for a ton, but if it's now all of a sudden this is the 100th time that a Super Mario Brothers has went up, that's a very high grade. And I am not a sealed game collector.
Yeah.
Like I buy things to play. I buy things
Although,
that I
having
enjoy.
said that, though, if you were to find a sealed little Samson, you wouldn't open it, would you? You'd keep it sealed.
Well, no, I would likely not even keep it. I would either get it graded and sell it or whatever, and then buy a copy of it to play.
Yeah.
Because it would be literally wasting money if you open up something like that from an investment perspective, and you just buy the actual copy of it loose. Because you'll have the cash from that, and then the rest of that cash you can diversify into your collection and get more games that you want to play.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's the aspect right there.
Yeah. I fear in the future of gaming collecting is that companies like Xbox and Microsoft, all them, we see the PlayStation Now, we see Xbox Game Pass, I fear that they're going to all go to the cloud gaming. Yeah. It's all going to be a subscription base, and then all of a sudden that takes away collecting in general.
Well, that's not going to happen. And why is that, John?
Well, because companies like you.
Because companies like me, Nintendo has given me a green light in order to publish games physically. And because they have a cartridge-based system on the Switch, it feels like old school collecting.
I love that.
Now, my methodology as a creator isn't to increase or create scarcity. It's like when we do a open pre-order, it's an open pre-order because as many people that want to buy our games and play our games can. And that's the idea. And once they're gone, they might be gone, but if we have thousands of people that want to get a copy of Super Blood Hockey that's sold on our website, we'll print more games so more people can play it, and the developer can continue to make money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that the developers make money, they'll want to make more games. Oh, darn. And then we do...
Everyone wins.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, even to say, from a collector's perspective, keeping things sealed, getting things graded, that's not even my mentality because we create challenges within our games that you have to open the game in order to even qualify to earn one of our challenge patches that we have inside of our games.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, from modern gaming, I think if companies like mine exist, there'll at least be some semblance. However, Microsoft has made it very nigh impossible, like that word nigh, it's been very impossible for a company like me to even jump into it. So
yeah, why is that? There's so many limitations, or would they require?
It's not even the limitations. So like Nintendo Switch, for the US, we have the highest minimum that we have to do from any different region for publishing. So you have to do a minimum 5,000 copies in order to publish a game on Nintendo. PlayStation's 1,000 copies, man. Wow. So we can do PlayStation if you're approved. Microsoft, we have heard that it's about 100,000 copies for a minimum for a physical. Which means that they literally do not want to support any gamers, and it's because of what you were saying. They're moving toward that cloud-based gaming construct, and so that way, as a developer, you want to go into their cloud gaming so you can get on Game Pass, and then they're just going to give you continual money versus going to a physical realm, which they literally are trying to eliminate that market.
Yeah, that's
really weird, right?
It's sad.
Because, I mean, in order to sell 100,000 copies, that's a big reach.
From a business perspective, it's smart for them because at some point they don't need even a console anymore because you can just cloud stream on your tablet or your phone.
That's what they're doing, yeah. And so, the Xbox Series X might be its swan song. They're just doing high-end, affordable PCs at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't get to that point, but...
Well, luckily, Nintendo is kitschy enough and unique enough where they want to do fun things that they'll always allow us to have our gaming. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's always going to create fun collectibles. They do the amiibo figures. They do lots of little fun tchotchkes that you can get with all of your games. Cool. So I feel like Nintendo will allow us to do this as long as people are buying it.
That's true. Cool.
And that's the reality.
Absolutely. So, what else?
Move it off on a tangent.
Yes, I like that.
That was good.
I love it.
Okay.
So what show are you going? This is how many times have you gone to the show?
I have been at this show at least since 2014.
Okay, every year.
Every year.
It's cool to see
Except for
grow.
when they didn't have it open for 2020. But yeah, this show has grown. I remember when it was in the other hotel where it was all compartmentalized out and hanging out with guys that were in like hotel rooms that were gutted out and tubs filled with beer in there. It was really fun. The classics.
Yeah.
I remember one of the places had like Jello shots filled in the tub.
Really?
Like, it was just insane time.
It started off as like a Jaguar like event, wasn't like Atari Jaguar thing?
Yeah, it was originally an Atari Jaguar event. I hadn't been to it for that. I was there for Midwest Gaming, and then they had a vendor tent that was in the parking lot.
I remember that.
And there was like a whole rain where everything that flooded underneath
Really?
the ground. So everybody had stuff on the ground. It was like crazy. And now we're here at this amazing venue where it's like
great
gigantic.
venue.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love the arcade room with machines.
Yeah, you got lots of the homebrew pinball stuff. You got all
That's
the
incredible to me that they do the
developers.
homebrew pinball and stuff. Yeah.
That's probably my favorite thing at these conventions is seeing all the new stuff that people create.
Yeah.
I mean, because like being a creator myself, seeing everybody else's passion out there, I mean, that's probably the best part.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Tell me about your company. Tell us about your company a little bit more, like what you guys have been doing with Premium Edition.
So Premium Edition.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, we did a little bit of a talk yesterday on it, right? So we're launching our Series 3 on 16 November, which is going to be 3 titles. One is a Metroidvania-style game that's a cross with Shovel Knight. It's called Cathedral. And you get to go through fighting massive boss fights
cool.
that are like really a pixel-perfect platforming and really, really fun game.
Cool.
And then we have Phoenotopia Awakening, which is an adventure game that's almost in the style of a Zelda 2, but it's a 100+ hour adventure with like pastel graphics, beautiful artwork, music's amazing.
Did you play through the whole game?
I have been working my way through the game because as a creator,
It's a long commitment.
And well, because the key is though is that I'm writing the instruction manuals. I design and write all the instruction manuals, all the strategy guides, everything for Premium. So I'm designing it, and what I'm doing with them is I take nostalgic kicks that the developers want me to do. So for example, with A Robot Named Fight, which is a roguelike Metroidvania that we had, actually they wanted to do a Simon's Quest style manual from a Konami style. So I took even the font similarities and put that into the manual and worked it in along with the placement of all the texts and all of the different images and everything to make it look exactly how that developer wanted it to.
That's fantastic.
Really crazy.
That is crazy.
And then, of course, our third game is a Power Stone-style fighting game called Mighty Fight Federation with 4 different known IPs along with another 12 unique characters. So you have Toe Jam and Earl in there, Bloodstained, Miriam from Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, with Igavania, with Koji Igarashi.
Wow.
River City Ransom, you get to play as Ricky and Kunio-kun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
as well as Yooka-Laylee, which is the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie.
So you're doing 3 games this next wave?
Yeah, we're doing 3 games the next wave. They're all going to be available on 16 November. And then our retro editions, which all come with a soundtrack along with some really cool items, like Cathedral's getting a hand-drawn guide by Phil Summers. And he's the one that did that amazing hand-drawn Zelda guide. He's working on a Metroid guide. Nintendo had some issues because that's their IPs. Well, I'm like, hey, come do some actual licensed ones with us, and you'll do them for us with Nintendo.
Yeah.
And so he's doing a Cathedral one, which looks amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Those will all be limited in quantity with 500 copies available at pre-order.
Okay.
And what I've been telling people is that if you don't get it within the pre-order window, you're basically gambling that our distributors won't buy the remaining copies, which we've already had them allocated, so like they don't buy as many. So really, you want to get there on 16 November to ensure that you can get one of the amazing retro editions we're doing. And we have like awesome artists like Nick Huddleston that does almost like painting-like pictures. Our slipcase for Cathedral is Paul Niemeyer is here on the floor. Paul Niemeyer. Really cool stuff though. But what you need to tell me is what you're doing with Game On.
Oh, so Game On is an event that I run in Phoenix. It's like kind of like this. It's out August 5th through 7th.
Yeah.
And we have a good time, man. I mean, you've been there before, but we have music and we have retro gaming, modern gaming, anime, arcade, all the above, man. It's a good time.
Nice.
Tabletop. It's good.
It'd be a fun time, and
I know and I respect a lot of work that goes into running a show like this. It's a lot of behind the scenes year round. The logistics is amazing, and so again, tip of the hat to Dan and the crew for putting on an amazing event here. It's been incredible.
And then the real question that the gamers have, all the gamers that are captively right here in front row, they want to know what Collector Vision is doing game release-wise for 2021.
Okay, so
Let's go.
City Hunter is coming out. City Hunter Curse the Mayan is coming out physically. Unfortunately, not for you guys, but it's coming out. Hopefully, we'll be announcing it first quarter.
Nice.
It's coming next year.
And that's coming with First Press games,
Yes,
right?
First Press games.
It's
yeah.
awesome.
And then still continuing the Collector Vision games, ColecoVision games that we're doing. Can't think of any titles at the moment, to be honest with
Do
you.
you have any favorites?
There is. We're releasing Dead Tomb, which came out for the NES. We're doing that on modern consoles for the Switch and things like that, which is cool.
And Dead Tomb is almost like a point-and-click adventure,
It's like
right?
an old school point-and-click game, yeah. So it's kind of Egyptian themed, and the game itself is really hard.
And it's based off of an old PC game that was up with the developers, right?
There was, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was up in, my partners are from Montreal, and there was a gaming console, almost like the Sega Channel up there, where it was like a online where you download games. It's like I forget the name of this unit. But anyway, so this game, it was different, but yes, it's based on Dead Tomb. It's based on that game. Nice. So that's fine. We're working on a game called Jester, which is coming out for Super Nintendo and NES. And we're working with Mega Cat Studios on that, which is cool.
Nice. So what type of game is Jester?
It's a puzzle game like Pac-Man.
Oh, nice. So it's like almost like a single screen arcade experience?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's a maze runner like Pac-Man?
It's a maze runner, yeah.
Okay, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you guys I'll give you an example. You can check it out. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So if you like the Pac-Man or like, it reminds me of like Mousetrap and things like that. It's classic.
And then have they ever given you an update on the status of Justice Beaver?
Yeah, so Justice Beaver is a game that we've been working on forever. It's for Super Nintendo, which is really a hard platform to program for.
Nigh impossible. Yeah, I've used nigh twice now.
Super hard. I like it.
Because I remember Justice Beaver was starting off as like a Rick Dangerous style game, then they completely overhauled everything, reprogrammed.
Yeah, so one of my business partners made the fatal mistake of like changing up mid-campaign and like, let's not do Rick Dangerous, let's do like a whole new game. Yeah. Had we done with the original plan, the game would be out by now. Yeah. So we started from fresh, but we just recently updated the soundtrack and the audio, and we're getting there. And what's cool is the programmer's like, we can do it for the Neo Geo now. We can do it for. I'm like, let's just get the Super Nintendo done and focus on that, and before we focus on other platforms.
Well, what you call that in the realm of content creation, and creation is scope creep. So what you want to do is get the copy out that people have already pre-ordered, and then, now let's do the Neo Geo copy. Right. Now let's do the other copy. Yeah. It's cool that you can do it, but like you got to absolutely get it out there.
Yeah. And that's the thing with like making City Hunter. Initially, it was we kept adding to it, and then at some point we're just like, let's just leave it for the sequel because we're never going to get this game done if otherwise, So. Game is done. It's great. People loving it, and it's good to see. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, and the thing is, you mentioned like Super Nintendo is really hard to program for when it comes in terms of like homebrew. Yeah. I mean, to put things into perspective, there are thousands of NES homebrews. Right. And that's before NES Maker opened up the possibilities for hobbyists to come in and learn the artistic aspects and then do the coding on the back end. Now, but Super Nintendo does not have any of that. It doesn't have any of the packages, the tools and everything that all the NES homebrewers were been using since the beginning. That doesn't exist for Super Nintendo. Right. And there's about a couple dozen maybe at this point.
Yeah. Not very many.
No, and I mean, one of them is the original Sidney Hunter Super Nintendo release.
And that game took forever too, different programmer. So that's the thing. You're kind of at the mercy. You got to be patient, and you're at the mercy of the programmer a lot of times, waiting for them to do stuff. But it's good. I mean, we'd rather be patient and do a good game than rush it out and not have a good game at all.
Well, exactly. And to put things into perspective, there was a homebrew that came out a little bit around that same time called Unholy Night. And it was created by like original Neo Geo fighting developers, and the game is very clunky, not programmed. They didn't overhaul it or tune in any of the controls, right? And you could tell. Versus Sidney Hunter, that they took the time, they tuned in the controls. It's a very competent and amazing platformer.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Versus the thing that's interesting and people don't realize is that Sidney Hunter on the Super Nintendo is like a platforming game, versus Sidney Hunter on the Switch is almost like a episodic Metroidvania. It's almost like what I would say is the Indiana Jones of a Metroidvania, because what you do is you play every level. It's like an episodic episode of Indiana Jones.
I call it. It's like a Mega Man. I call it Mayan Man. Yeah, because it's a Maya theme. But it's like Mega Man meets Castlevania, is it gameplay-wise.
Exactly.
The best way to explain it, yeah. So we're proud of it. It's our signature game, and I think people who played it really enjoyed it, and just getting the word out there has been tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as people continue to collect for the Nintendo Switch, it's going to come out for first press. It's going to look amazing. They're going to have their awesome slipcase for it.
Right.
And it's going to then be out there, and people are going to see it.
Right. People are going to see it.
I mean, I'm going to buy a copy.
Yeah. I appreciate that, brother.
Always. But yeah, it'll be cool. So let's wrap things up.
Okay.
Where can people find you? And also, what are you working on currently for Gamester81?
People can find me on YouTube, Gamester81. I have a website, Gamester81.com. I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all that good stuff. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, too. So
Star Wars Nut, maybe.
Star Wars Nut 77, that's right. So that's on YouTube and Facebook, Instagram as well. But yeah, I'm on there. As far as things I'm working on, I'll do a recap on the show.
Nice.
Do this like a pickup video for sure. We got some videos we got to plan, you and I.
Yeah, we'll do a game talk on some new obscure stuff. I think we really do need to talk about the Intellivision Amico.
Yeah.
And the way that they are, they sold these collector's edition boxes with really only game codes inside, and how that's going to uphold its value. Yeah. I think that's a really interesting topic.
That would be an interesting topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's kind of we got people talking bad about it. We got people who are bad about it. So we'll see.
And we'll talk about whether it's going to withhold its value and at what level and in what market, because it's really a unique thing that no company has done to a point at that level.
Yeah.
At that price point. And so when we do our game talks, we do a lot of research for the videos and things. So it's not, right now we're just, talking. Shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze.
But in reality, that'll be a really fun game talk.
That would be a really fun talk,
yep.
yeah.
I think that's what we'll do is we'll go old school Gamester81 with it, with our game talks, and maybe we'll just try to have a theme with that, so that we have fun with it.
I'll be down for that.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, it's good chatting with you, man.
Yeah, man. It's good seeing you, John.
And where can people find you?
Where can people find me? PremiumEditionGames.com. Over there, as we mentioned, 16 November, our Series 3 goes for a 1-month pre-order to get your copy of Cathedral, Phoenotopia Awakening, and Mighty Fight Federation.
I'll be on it.
We have a very active Discord community, which there's a link at the top of the page, and you can join us. And we often post things from a production perspective. We'll talk about when we get things in. So when the steelbooks arrive to the warehouse and we get pictures, we'll share a video there or post it there before it goes to social media.
That's cool.
And then everybody interacts. There's also a game request channel on there where you can request if you want us to do a physical on a Nintendo Switch game, and we'll all check it out.
That'd be amazing.
Cool, man.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Everyone. Bye.
Thank you.